Good afternoon, everybody. This is Adrienne Montgomery. I am here on behalf of Clients First, and we are going to be talking about 4 key project strategies to increase profits. So pleased to be joined by Mary Herlichka over at Clients First today. She is our product specialist when it comes to projects and project planning, and so she knows this content very well. So at a glance, Clients First has over 750 customers in the ERP space, been representing Microsoft Dynamics for a very long time. They have 90 plus employees, over 7 offices across the country, and over 25 million in annual revenue. So when you go with Clients First, you're going with a mature, value-added reseller of Dynamics 365 and Dynamics AX, Dynamics NAV, and now FNS with Dynamics 365. So you are in good hands with Clients First. So Dynamics average years experience per resource type. So multi-site, multi-country, over 7 years. Technical average years of experience is 10 years. And the functional average years of experience is also 10 years. So Mary Herlichka is the project manager and solution architect. Mary, I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to you.
All right, thank you. So just a little bit of recap, a little bit more personal summary of the about me. I started working really young, which attributes to that wide range of experience you see in the different industries, and was given huge opportunities to naturally fit into a career with information technology. Of those 9 years of experience that you see up there, 6 of those are within a consulting role with Clients First, where I've gained experience and began taking on responsibilities at higher levels. I've worked with dozens of ERP systems and have been doing system implementations for small and large for over a decade. So I'm super excited to share some of the knowledge that I've gained over the years and jump right into our key focus, which is some strategies to help us with managing projects. My goal today is to show you how you can simplify how you manage your projects. Our focus will be 4 key strategies to keep your finger on the pulse of your business. Simplifying process maps can be super complicated. Regardless of what drives the business to invest in new technology, old habits die hard. If your people lack standardization, your systems are going to struggle. All system implementations involve some type of change management, even if your map doesn't look like the above. Now, if your map might look something like or close to what's above, don't worry, we've seen worse. This afternoon, I'm going to walk us through key strategies to managing projects and how you can benefit from streamlining your processes, putting your systems to work. So again, we've got 4 key concepts to cover: forecasting, budgeting, purchasing, and labor tracking. After an introduction, I'm going to explain what is in each of the contents, and then you'll see it in live action. Don't worry, today is not death by PowerPoint. Project management is a combination of people, processes, and systems. In an industry where project-based work is your business, utilizing a standardized system to support these 4 key areas can go a long way. Let's start by looking at forecasting. To do forecasting, you need to have some sort of process to collect key information. Almost all businesses do some shape or form of a process to collect these key data indicators. However, if you're not using some type of system to collect it and share it, as you grow, you're going to eventually find out your outdated processes can't keep up with the speed of business. Our product highlight today, Dynamics for Finance and Operations, supports a wide range of marketing features to attract new customers. But today, we're going to focus on those sale features. So let's jump right in. I'm going to show you how easy it is to track relationships within leads, build an opportunity, and link a project quotation. That end result, we're looking for visibility into your sales stream and a forecast. So I'm going to use the most current version of Finance and Operations, meaning it has the most latest and greatest platform updates. And for full disclosure, there is customizations within this particular environment. For this particular content area, there's nothing that you'll see custom within anything I'm doing. It's all out of the box. I'm going to start by creating a prospect. There's lots of different ways to navigate in Dynamics for Finance and Operations. There's a search page up here, which me being kind of old school, I have to remember it's up there to use it. And there's also the menu-based items up here, up in our little hamburger that shows you all the various different options within the system. I have full system admin, so you're seeing all of the features, all of the forms that are available in the system. So to go to all prospects, that's where we're going to start things off. I'm just going to do a quick on the search bar, and you'll see that it's starting to find what I'm looking for. So I found the all prospects, and I'm going to go ahead and jump in. And you'll see the initial list of prospects and customers, if they've become a customer, that have already been created in the system. Right now, I'm going to start us new. So to start off new, you'll first notice it wants name. It wants to know who's your prospect. This naming field works with what is called a global address book. This is going to help you manage duplicates within your system. If you're all going to the same spot, if it's all going into the same system, you'll be able to bounce it up against other information to, again, avoid the duplicate. So if I was going to create Minnesota Floral and Gift Shops, again, I would catch myself saying, oh, look it looks at some point in time we've already done business with them. And then I would go to that party ID, and then I would be able to look at the details of that relationship. I'm going to start a brand new, so we're going to say Minnesota Hockey. And I'm going to start out as the type ID prospect. I'm going to say it's based out of Mankato, Minnesota. I'm going to be lazy and make up a fake street. Now, what we're seeing initially is what I call the quick creates. It's the minimal amount of information that you need to put into all the red fields, and then a couple of quick views that you're able to see before you even save the record. When I say save and open, I have a variety of different options, but I'm going to bring up that prospect record again. And show you the full set of what's available on the record. There's a lot of things that you can do with prospects. We don't have a ton of time today, so I can't show you every single detail. So I'm just going to breeze over the general record and what's available that you can track on that prospect. So again, so far I put in minimal information. I put a name. I double checked against the global address book that they weren't already in there. They have an address. And now if there's additional contact details, I can add those in at a later time as well. The contact details are going to be by type, so I can add the phone number in there. So I could say Mr. Hockey, 555-5555, and make that his primary. I want to use Mr. Hockey's email address. I can type that in there. There's a variety of different services that we can offer to import data from your systems. I'm showing you again the most simple version, just entering it in. Now, once I've created that prospect record, I can start now building off of that prospect record. So I'm going to jump into what's called a lead. Now, there's lots of different ways that you can use leads and opportunities as our next step, and it's really how you're going to structure your sales team, how you want the information to be tracked. So maybe on this example, Minnesota Hockey, I'm going to track a new rink going up in North Mankato. There's additional information that I can put for a type. Maybe I got an email, they're soliciting money for that. I'm going to take advantage of that and see if I can do business with them. And put a priority. And all these different drop downs, they're user configurable to meet your business requirements and your business needs. If I had certain associations, I could add those down here as well. And the importance of why I'm going through this is to understand how complex the system is able to accommodate tracking the various different relationships and associations that could come within your sales and marketing team. So maybe it's related to a campaign. Maybe this actually came on campaign. I was on their emailing list because we started a campaign. Maybe there's other leads for other hockey rinks that the Minnesota Hockey Association is doing that I could link here, so we can see the full perspective of the prospect in that relationship. Once you have the lead and it progresses into the next stage, I'm going to go in to generate an opportunity. And notice I'm going off it. I'm just building off that original prospect record. Started on the prospect record. I went into the lead, which so far it didn't have estimated revenue. It really didn't have anything specific to a deal that we were looking to quote, that we were looking at our strengths, our weaknesses, opportunities, and threats on. That's where the opportunity record comes into play. So the lead is more so an idea, something's happening and I want to be a part of it. And the opportunity is, well, that's something that was happening. There's a good chance that I could be a part of it. So I'm going to start looking at that in more detail. All that, again, I build off from the prospect record. Prospect record to a lead, from the lead to the opportunity. Now, maybe before I want to put too much time in it, I want to go through a sales process to make sure that this is somebody that I want to do business with. Dynamics for Finance and Operations can facilitate that for me too. I'm just going to pick this demo sales process here, give Microsoft credit for it because it's their demo data. And you can see up underneath the process section, now I have these various different steps out here: prospect, qualify, develop, propose, and close. So far I've started that prospect stage. Now I want to go into the qualify stage. Now that sales process, it can kick up off other activities. It can send a task for your credit department to do a credit check on that particular prospect. So again, I know that it's somebody that I want to do business with. So at this point in stage, It went into the qualify. Yep, this is somebody I want to do business with. Let's start to develop that opportunity. So I moved it into the next stage. Now on the opportunity, I'm not going to get line item level data yet. It really is at a higher level. So maybe I'm looking at the new rink, they want to use a new software package to rent out all their different rinks and order their food and all the various different things that go on at a hockey rink. And the potential software package that I'm willing to sell them, it's a smaller guy. I'm going to sell it to him for $18,000. So it's just a single field, estimated revenue, single field. I can put here in the detailed notes if there's any more things that I want to put as a description of what I talked about, what the deal is going to encompass. Now notice that my contact information that I put all the way from the prospect, that's carrying into my opportunity. I don't have to put it again. All that information here is now at my fingertips. So I've got the address that, remember I was lazy, 123 Easy Street. I came up with a fictitious address. Here's my contact information that came in. Some additional details that we're going to get on the opportunity is we can keep track of what our competitors are. What is our threat? Who is our threat? Who can take this deal from us? The competitor is a user-defined field. So it's not free-form, but it's user-defined. So I put in that ABC Consulting value there. So this can be specific to your business, specific to your company, where you can put in your competitor, and the benefit of having it a user-defined field versus a free-form alphanumeric field is the consistency of reporting off of it. On the SWOT analysis, we're looking at our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, our threat. We specify what type it is. And here we can put additional free-form information about the products that we offer, and then additional notes. Association from that lead, because remember I created this opportunity to the lead, can come back here at any time and edit. So now remember I was at the develop. So I developed a pretty good opportunity here. We're looking at a new rink going up in North Mankato. I'm going to sell them a software package to manage that new rink. I've got some details that I can keep in contact. I know who my competitors are. I've got my SWOT analysis done. The conversations are moving forward. There's a variety of different things that you can use to track the conversations. Again, I'm just showing you the surface because that's about all we have time for. But if we imagine, if you will, going through my examples, this now is starting to look like it might be a solid deal. So I actually want to provide some quoting. So the next step to this is I'm going to go into the proposal stage. And as I'm moving along the stage, realize that's data. Very intuitive for me to say, okay, I'm the salesman, I got my salesman hat on, and I'm going through and I'm tracking this information. So not only that I can keep it straight, but my boss can see what I'm doing, and people that are interested in what's going on within the sales stream can figure out what's going on and at what stage that particular opportunity is. So at this point in time, again, I moved it to the proposed stage. So we're going to do a project quotation. Right from the opportunity, I'm going to go into the project quotation. And I'm going to get that quick create here. It already knows who I'm trying to do business with. defaults all the information. I say okay. And then here, I've started my project quotation. Now we're going to talk about work breakdown structures a little bit more on some following content. But for right now, I'm actually going to use it as a mechanism to help build what my quote's going to look like to Minnesota Hockey. So I'm going to go up to the project quotation. I'm going to go into the work breakdown structure, and you'll see here that it's proposing that I start things from scratch. Well, I've got templates that I can use. We typically cater to each one of our company's needs, but in general, there's a template that we can start with, and then we can edit it based off of what's going to be best for that particular project or customer. But again, I'm going to start with the base. So I'm going to go through just the standard ERP implementation and say, okay. There's a lot of functionality and features to manage pricing within finance and operations. Today, I'm going to keep it really simple again for the sake of time. And I'm just going to apply the rate card for this customer instead of using the work breakdown structures. Work breakdown structures can have their own pricing, and the pricing can pull in. It's going to override any defaults or standard price groups that that customer has. So I'm going to say yes, and it's going to bring in that standard customer instead. Oh, I waited too long there. There we go. So I've got my standard customer pricing in, whether that was set on the customer. There's a variety of different hierarchies and levels that again, I can get pricing on. I don't have time to explain pricing today, but I just wanted to give you guys a general idea where these prices are coming from. A couple of different views. I've got a scheduling view, and then I've also got a cost estimates view. On my cost estimates view, I'm going to be able to see dollars, both from a cost and a sale perspective. So if I look at the details of each one of the line items, I can see what then is making up my cost and my sale price. So I had some quantities default in again from the template that I had used, and my cost and my sales price are default from that customer's rate card. So this ended up being a way bigger deal apparently than my $18,000, because now it looks like I'm going to get $865,000 deal out of it. 865, 185. So I'm going to do a little trick. I'm actually going to fake the system to show 185, 685, something like that. No, not even close, Mary. We're going to go with 185, 685. For now, check it, come back into my cost view, 865, 185. Now, why am I doing that? Why am I just putting a fee on there and I'm not bringing in all my transactions? Well, it's actually a trick. Most of the time, what we're going to do is we're going to give them one solid price for that implementation. However, we are going to show them the work breakdown structure. Great thing about the work breakdown structure that I'm going to show while that auto approves, there is workflow on the project quotation. I have it auto approving right now. I can export directly into Excel. So once it's in Excel, I can then print and get it in the form that I want to. to either attach it to my quotation if I'm printing it out, or if I'm sending it to PDF and emailing it together. And then that way, they get the breakdown of the cost without necessarily having to go and modify my standard project quotation. Now we're going to see, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to generate the quotation, and we're going to see that out of box and what that out of box quote looks like. It's just going to have that one fee transactions on it. So of course the customer would want to know where am I spending all that money? So in this particular, on my trick here, for the sake of we don't have that much time, I'm tricking it. I'm not putting it into the lines. The lines would then be grouping it by the transaction type. I would kind of lose that original work breakdown structure to accommodate that. So my trick to get around that is I put the fee as my project quotation, and then I'm going to externally send them the details from the work breakdown structure. So that's sent off, and let's just say they really liked my quote. They want to do business with us. Now the next step is we want to convert this to a customer. Remember, we are still a prospect. We went through the vetting, we were okay to do business, and spend the amount of time it took to come up with those estimates, because that's no small task either, right? But now that we actually want to do business, we have to convert that relationship. So right from the project quotation, I don't have to go back to that prospect. There's a button there too. I can convert to customer. Now, typically, it wouldn't be the same person doing all the steps that you're seeing me do. Of course, there would be hands over if there was separation of duties. You had a finance department or a credit department that would only be able to convert prospects to customers. Right now, I'm kind of doing it all just to show you the features of the system. So I'm going to go ahead and convert to customer. So it's saying, hey, you're about to convert that prospect to customer. Yep, I know that. Go ahead. And so now here we can see that customer record. And the tricky part about what I just did is I actually did create two master records. I had a prospect record, and then now when I converted to customer, I actually created a customer record too. So there's a relationship that's going to go back to the prospect. So right underneath here, I've got that little prospect account button. I can flip back to that original prospect. Here it is, all the same details that we saw the first time. And now it's type ID customer. So let's back up to our quotation. Remember, things are going good. They like us. We want to confirm it. We are now ready to do business. Since we had that link to the opportunity, it was asking us, it's saving us a click, do we really want to update the opportunity record? Yep, we do. Here it's going to tell me to confirm the quotation, update it with a reason, and they liked our technology. That's why they went with us. And now I'm going into confirmed. So those steps that I just went through on the project quotation, that is out of box AX. Again, there was nothing custom there. You do have to step through that full iteration on the quotation to get them to work. The workflow is required. As you had seen, it was auto-approving for me. There's lots of different functionalities that you can put within the workflow to route it to other people. I demonstrated an auto-approved, and then I did all the steps to sending the quotation, confirm the quotation, and now we're ready to transfer to a project. So realize that as we were stepping through all of that, we were collecting key information, key data. All of those relationships, that happened intuitively just by creating the transactions and going through the motions. Now, the last step of it is we're going to transfer to a project, and then we're going to take a look at what the final result of building up all that data looks like in forecast lines. So again, I'm going to go ahead into the next step. I'm going to turn this project quotation into a project, so then we can see the final result, our forecasting. There's options to transfer to existing or new. I'm going to start anew just to show you how easy it is to create a new project and link it to that original project quotation. I'm not going to choose the options to transfer my forecast lines. I've got a better option once the project is created, and I'll show you why. So I'm saying no here, and I'm going to finish out to create my project. And now that that project is created, I have that link back on my project quotation. So this is my new project. Quick link right to the project. Again, it's very intuitive. It is a lot of information. It's a lot of different forms. But once you know where you're going and know where to navigate, it's really just clicks away. So the last thing, again, we're talking about forecasting. We were working through a sales process and gathering key information for the end result of, we want to do some forecasting. What is this data going to get me? So I'm going to go into our all forecast. I'm in the project now. That was my quick link to the project, and now I'm in the project. And I'm going to use this fancy little button here, transfer from WBS. Now, when I transfer from the WBS, it depends on what state that I'm in that it's going to link the activity numbers or not. And before I actually press that button, I'm going to go in and I'm going to show you that our WBS came along with our project quotation. So that same work breakdown structure that was on the project quotation that I spent time, all this thought process about the line items I have, right? No, I used the template and I didn't change it. But again, the concept of that, I don't have to do it again at the stage of the project. If I did it at project quotation, I can bring along what I like into the project. Now, what I did actually want to do here is I wanted to publish it, because publish it is going to give me my activities, which is the core of how we track things within the WBS. Each one of these tasks are going to get its own activity. And then when I create the forecast, I'm going to get the breakdown and forecast by the activity. So I'm going to go back to all forecasts. Now I'm going to transfer from WBS. Here's all my activities. I can pick a forecast model. Now, I don't have time to get too much into the details, but finance and operations is a very sophisticated ERP system. There is the ability to have multiple different forecasts. And one of the ways that we can help you is talking through what you need to see and how you want to see your numbers. That kind of dictates how we have in the forecast. In addition to, you can see original amounts, and you can have the reduction key on your forecast to see a original to remaining. And then this time here, I'm just going to put it in the total forecast. So realize I did that with a click of a button. Now, once I create all of the forecast lines, there's a variety of different inquiries and reports that I can slice and dice this data with. So just out of box, I can slice and dice this data that I just created. And of course, there's always the option of the plugins like Power BI, so you can do your own reporting specific to you. So now that I have the detail of my forecast, that kind of wraps up what the forecasting features do from a highlight. Now, the key thing that I want you guys to pick up there is I went through a simplified natural process of how you can go from the start of a relationship and build that up just by using the available features in the system. So it was quick and intuitive for me to click on things. There's user configurable values in there that I can make specific to my business. What's important to me? What do I want to report? That's all user configurable within the system. So up next, we've got budgeting. Now, the budgeting comes in a couple of different ways. We've already seen the work breakdown structure, and I'm going to talk through a little bit more about how to use that work breakdown structure and then spend some time looking at the cost in the planning views. Because while your forecast can help your company's long-term budget, kind of that 50-foot view, work breakdown structures and project-specific budgets can help you manage the ones you've set with your customers. So we took our project quotation into the next stage and we created a project. So the next to see is how those budget features work against that project that we just created and how easy it's going to be for me, again, just to use all of the same things that naturally came as part of tracking the information in my sales stream. So again, I'm back on my Minnesota hockey project that we started with. And this time, I'm going to go back into the work breakdown structure, but I'm going to highlight the tracking view. So right now, I'm in the planning view. And the planning view is going to allow me to do some scheduling features as well. In the cost estimates, allow me to plan my costs and my sales for that matter, because I do get my sales numbers as well. Now the tracking view, which is just a click away, that's going to give me the real-time budget planned numbers to actuals. So as I start getting activity under each one of these tasks, and remember it was those activities and those task name that came into the forecast, each one of these are tied to a specific activity, and then we're going to see that in the scheduling portion as well for the labor tracking. So as each one of the tasks are completed, we're going to start to see actual costs come in, and it'll give me the cost at complete, planned cost, and then the cost variance. The effort tracking just shows it in hours versus dollars. Now there's another layer that can enable some additional functionality that will put up warnings. It can cause hard stops, and additionally, the project budget is going to work with the project statement. So some of our customers get confused saying, well, like, why do I use both? Why is there two layers of budgeting? Why can't I just use this work breakdown structure? Can I just use project budget? Yes, you can. The answer is yes, you can. It's what's going to fit best for your business. There's pros and cons to each of them. Work breakdown structure, that is just a plan. There's no hard stops from there. Prices don't come from it. You can post outside of it. The restrictions against what people can and can't do, that isn't in the work breakdown structure. That's in the project budget. Now, I have this system set up to enable the project button. This is a toggle usually on the parameter, and then you can toggle it on the project. I have it set up just to automatically enable it. So I'm going to go into the project budget and just show you what's different about it. It's just a different way to look at it. And again, within this project button, there's some additional toggles that you can say, you know, don't let a transaction post. It will actually error. So you go and try to complete the transaction, but when you complete the transaction, it's not going to let you. It's going to bomb out and it's going to provide an error. Some people like that because they can stop and have the conversation with the person that's trying to post it and understand where that money came from or where that cost or labor dollar came from before it goes over a budget, and then I have to check it a week later because I was busy the day that it happened. So some people like that. If you've got a lot of volume in your business and there's a lot of different people putting time against your budget, it's really more of a nuisance, and that we would be able to help you talk through what a more single piece flow looked like to you to help some of those annoyances that maybe, you know, your field tech staff may not understand what to do. I'm going to use that WBS again. I could use my forecast, which was created from my WBS. So in return, it is actually doing the same thing. But just to show you a different feature, I can create it from the forecast. But if I chose not to have the forecast, or if I chose not to have a WBS, here's my options that I can create budgets from. So in my WBS estimates, that's actually where I want it coming from. I don't want to summarize by category because I want the detail of the activities. And I'm not going to do any markups. So I'm just going to let it fly as is. Now here you'll see those activity numbers. We hit the activity number, we can see the description, all the various different descriptions of that activity name. And I've got a cost section and a revenue. So I can have two different budgets, a budget for cost and a budget for revenue. Workflow is required, but you can have it auto approved. Once it goes into the approval, it'll go into the approved revisions. And then if there is additional, or it'll have the original budget will go into the total budget, sorry. And then when there is a change that needs to happen, a change order, there's functionality called revisions. And what's nice about this is if you change something in that WBS, there's no tracking there. There's versions that you could maybe figure it out, but that would be an extremely time-consuming task. So if you're a company that wants a little bit tighter visibility over changing budgets, then this is the way that you want to go, because it's going to tell you what the original budget is, and then it's going to track any revisions, and it will also track revisions that have not yet been approved. So there's a little bit more visibility into the movement or changing of the budget numbers by using this. So we've done some hard work. There's been a lot of different things. Right now, we've spent the majority of our time doing our planning and our budgeting on our project. So what's coming up next is we're going to show you how that hard work pays off. Because now, when it comes to scheduling our staff and recording our time, we're going to get the benefit of not having to make those decisions that we've already made. We're going to put that data at their fingertips, and you're going to see how nice it flows. Before we go into the scheduling, there's another piece that I can't show you all the bells and whistles for. Again, we're running short on our time even. I got to speed things up here a little bit. But another key feature is having a bead on your procured goods and services. Now, doing that through the projects module and linking to a purchase order, you're going to see how it happens automatically. Finance and operations does have robust features to manage produced and inventory items as well. That is another key strategy if that applies to you. However, again, today we're just going to focus on a very simple scenario of a procured service and how that is going to be the result of automatically capturing that cost and then being able to bill that out on the project. So now that I did all that planning and I put all my budgets into my project, I'm going to move it into the next stage. I'm going to move it into the release stage. Now these stages here, they are configurable. So this happens just to be the demo data. And this time here, we're going to go up into the manage task, into purchase orders. And we're just going to start a new purchase order. So again, how easy was that? I had a button from my project. And now from that button, a click later, I'm going to be able to go in and I'm going to start a purchase order here. For simplicity, I'm not using items. I am just going to use what's called a procurement category, and apparently I'm going to subcontract training because that's going to be the easiest one for me to use right now. So I can say I'm subcontracting 8 at $120 an hour for a total of $960. So I'm just going to step us through the purchase order. There is workflow on the purchase order. I don't have that enabled for the sake of time here. So I'm just going to go through the quick confirm process, which is then going to enable me to invoice this. Now, one trick to using the function that I'm using is the transaction won't show up on the project until it's been invoiced. So the check doesn't necessarily have to be issued to the vendor. It's the purchase order life cycle has to be complete. So that's what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to go through the invoicing. This particular one isn't set up to require a receipt. So I'm going to skip the receipt process and go right to invoice. And real creative with my invoice number, as you can see. Then I'm going to post. So here it said, great, good job, you posted your invoice. So realize since I got to that purchase order and I was able to invoice and do everything right there, that was only 2 clicks that I had to then back up to get back to my project. So now I'm back to my project. On my project, now I want to show how that procurement transaction shows up. So here it is. I have it not set up to do a markup. So it's just saying that I'm going to sell it for the same amount that it costs right now. So my cost price is $960, my sale price is $960. And then right here, I can see the invoice status, which is chargeable. Okay, again, I've got to pick it up. So I'm going to advance us into the next content. We just covered purchasing. Really quick and dirty demonstration of purchasing there. Now going into labor tracking. So today's workforce is changing. I predict we're going to see more and more companies ditch the paper dance for a more streamlined way of doing business. Out-of-box Dynamics for Finance and Operations offers robust online features for scheduling and excuse me, dispatching your workforce, and recording time and expenses. Today, with the quick glance, I'm going to demonstrate what Clients First has done to integrate the service and project management module with custom development. So this is where, remember, full disclosure, I was saying that there's customizations in this environment. Everything that you have seen so far has been out-of-box AX. I did not do anything with custom development. These next features I'm going to show you is custom development. Again, we're highlighting what Clients First can do. We offer custom development, and this is just one of many customizations that we've able to do, so you can get the best of both worlds in 2 standard modules. So I am back on my project. So far, you should be getting the theme of it. I've got the project as my basis. All the buttons that I need are on my project. So the next step I'm going to demonstrate is going to be within a service agreement. The service agreements and service orders are a functionality of service management. So there's a quick button here, but to do the navigation, I'd actually have to go into a different module, and that's called service management. Now, service management out-of-box behavior has its own scheduling, dispatching, and tracking views. What we've done with this modification is bring the 2 worlds together. So it will create the proper reservations against the project based off of the activity on the service order. It's another way to do the scheduling and another way to enter time. So I'm going to jump in here. So let's just say I want to do the planning phase first. I'm not ready to dispatch the entire project. I'm going to pick who's responsible for it. And right now I'm Julia, because I cheated and she had all the setup. So I'm actually Julia in the system. So I'm going to say I'm responsible for it. And one of the first highlights of our customization is going to be WBS lines. This is a copy function that's going to bring up the full structure of the WBS. You can highlight individual items and just get that item, or you can highlight the entire plan and get every single item or every single line item within that work breakdown structure. Highlighting the level will just get you the level. So let's just say right now I want to do the project charter. That's about the only thing that I want to put out there right now. So I'm going to say okay, and it just brings in my 1 line that I had selected from the WBS. And then there is several different ways to do the service orders, and I'm going to do it one of the most simple ways, which is just to create it manually. I could do a planned, and I could have a batch job running and looking at certain criteria to do it for me automatically. But again, for the sake of time, I'm going to go through and I'm just going to do it manually, which is one of the quickest ways to do it when you're demonstrating. So now that I have a service order, here's my hour, that's planned. And now I want to dispatch. I want to dispatch myself so I can start logging time against it. So there's user configurable stages, but I've set them up just in 3 simple stages. And what I want to do next is show you what we've done on a mobile application to get this service order on my mobile phone. So I'm going to bring up my screen sharing session until I get this set up. And here you're seeing my phone. Now, what I've done is I've logged into the app for finance and operations. What you're looking at is a custom workspace. So Microsoft has out-of-box workspaces, and whoops, it's not supposed to lock me out. And you're able to customize. So that service order that I just sent out, and I know that we're running out of time, so I'm going to hurry up here. That just showed up on my mobile application. I can open that up. I can see the details of what I need to be working on. I can make those edits. Maybe I did not spend 16 hours doing that. I only spent 8. Make the edits. Complete the stage. And that's going to move off of my list. So what I've just demonstrated there is a very simple one-piece flow that accommodates for real-time entry. So no timesheets that I have to catch up at the end of the day, or no timesheets that I have to catch up at the end of the week if I'm a terrible timekeeper. That was a single piece flow. Now, once I come back and I look at this service order, you're gonna see that it updated in the stage. Now I can move it back into the previous stage. This time I actually made a mistake. I should have signed off. I can move it back and into the next stage. So it's relatively forgiving. And then the last step is I'm gonna post that purchase order. And then that's gonna show as a posted transaction on my project. Now I could have done that via a batch job as well. For the sake of time and going through this, I'm not gonna wait for the batch job, and I just did it manually. Because the end result of what I wanna show you is there's my time entry. So that simple single piece flow, I had set up the service agreement, and that would be more of like a dispatcher role. I moved that service agreement into a stage that it was available on the mobile application. On the mobile application, I recorded it. I manually pressed the post button. Again, I could have waited, and that would have been done via a batch job, and it just would have shown up here in my project. Okay, I'm wrapping up. I'm almost done. So we just covered our labor tracking. And remember, there is a wide range of features that I didn't cover. There's a mobile, out-of-box mobile workspace for time entries that Microsoft has delivered, and it's free, available without customization with the purchase of your product, meaning that Clients First doesn't have to implement for you. There is expense mobile workspaces as well. I just showed you a little bit of what we did to integrate the service management module with the project module, so you can see how you can do that single piece flow working on individual service orders. So the last is the bonus content, and I know we're running a couple of minutes late. I appreciate you guys hanging in there. This is my last slide. The bonus content is we're going to see how all the pieces come together by doing an invoice proposal. So I'm going from the project, I'm going to go into the invoice proposal, and here you can see those 2 transactions that we've worked on and demonstrated. I'm going to select those to start the invoice proposal process. And one of the nice features about finance and operations is there's a variety of different things that you can do with the invoicing. You can format your own invoice proposal. There's lots of different products out there that work really well to put your own company's spin on it. the idea around wrapping this up as the bonus content and showing you this full cycle is how easy it is from the proposal standpoint. So as a project manager, I would want to create the invoice proposal, see all the transactions, make sure they're accurate, make sure I'm not missing any expenses on there, I'm not missing any purchase order transactions on there, all of my labor has been entered. There's a variety of different things that I can see just directly on the project of what's going on. And I can use that to then start my proposal. And the workflow, again, out of box, it's not anything special. This is all out of box, not a customization. I can submit that through. And this particular one, it's going to route to myself for approve. But again, the concept is how easy it is just to hand that off, whether it's the same person starting it or whether a workflow is then routing it to the next person to finish to it. And then, of course, there's robust features to help you with invoice distribution as well. Thank you, everyone, for your time. It was really nice to be able to share some of the information, and I look forward to any follow-up questions you all have and getting to know more about your business. Thanks, everyone.